Hey, good Saturday morning, everybody. Get ready to set up for the MB. Man, there's some surf fishing guys here this morning, and the first thing that impresses me as I look out at this beautiful Eastern Pacific this morning is the amount of bait that is on the beach. I mean, pelicans are hitting the water. There's all kinds of bird life. You can actually see the bait in here. The bait boat was here not that long ago making some anchovy and sardine here close to the beach. Of course, all this bait means there should be a lot of predators. So much to talk about on the morning briefing. I should shut up and get set up so I can bring you the very latest. Good Saturday morning, my friends. Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. It is a lovely Saturday morning. There is no question about it, and we have got a lot to talk about. You're going to be entertained behind me. Perhaps, I don't see it going on right now, but the pelicans have been pounding the water. There's a ton of bait in here. The bait boat was in here, and the surf fishermen, well, I took a little tour and talked to 6 or 7 guys there this morning, and they're having a lot of bites, but it's all stingrays so far, and shovel-nosed sharks or guitar fish. So we'll see how that pans out. There's got to be a couple of nice halibut being attracted by all this bait on the beach. Big bluefin tuna. We had one boat, at least one boat, with a great bite. But you know what? There's a little something going on, and that's the weather's up right now. So we'll see what happens and what the weather forecast is for that big bluefin tuna zone. I'll have that for you as more surf fishermen are about to pass behind me here in a second. Also, we'll look at the kelp patty yellowtail in Dorado down below San Diego. The Coronado Islands remain red hot. There's some good catching going on at San Clemente Island and Catalina Island, and the Island Spirit with another entertaining day on the rockfish. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good Saturday morning, my friend. Oh my God, is that good or what? And it is much needed as I got in about 1:30 this morning from the OC Fair, having a great time out there and meeting so many great people and people that are Friedman Adventures fans. That means so much to me. Hit that like button. We deeply appreciate it when you do that. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Friedman Adventures channel. Tick the bell, you'll be notified when there is new content. Share these videos with a friend. And don't forget, you can also follow us, and there's a ton of content on Facebook, Friedman Adventures, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Man, all those venues producing literally thousands upon thousands of views every single day, and I can't thank you enough for that. All right, let's jump into south of the border, down around Ensenada. Offshore, we've got some breeze going on from Ensenada all the way up to the Channel Islands and beyond. I'll try to be as specific as possible about the weather. It's just breezy. You can get offshore in Ensenada and still fish right now, but sometimes you'll get a little beat up when you're fishing a ponga. There's the occasional bluefin tuna, but very occasional right now. A lot of guys are staying inshore because of the wind. You can find a kelp that's holding good, yellowtail and Dorado, but they're starting to become a little bit more few and far between. Trying to find that good kelp that is holding has been a little bit more problematic the last couple of days. We'll see how that all pans out. But inshore, as you can see, Mara's Sportfishing with some great reds fishing. The bottom bite has been excellent, providing excellent table fare, and there's still a substantial amount of yellowtail zooming around Todos Santos Islands and around Punta Banda area. You find a bird school and throw a surface iron on it, and you stand a very good chance of catching a really nice big yellowtail. There's some big bonita around and some good calico and sand bass fishing. Ensenada still producing a lot of good fishing and a lot of great fun. Sean Morgan is running around down there right now. He's the captain of a yacht called the Wild Insect, and he's been pretty much just doing a restaurant tour here the last few days. So I'm sure Sean will be out fishing here pretty soon. We'll be checking in with him. Long range, really good fishing for several boats down there to Lejos Rocks. The yellowtail fishing's been great at night and in the daytime. Really nice, great, fine yellowtail fishing going on. There's also been some great wahoo fishing for the boats who are down below. And we also have seen some big grouper, yellowfin tuna. The long range thing, I'm talking like 8-day trips that are down there several hundred miles, really doing well right now. They've had spectacular fishing, great weather, and it has been a lot of fun. Unfiled taxes, make sure you give Tim Marquez a call today. And if you have heating and or air conditioning needs, John Lopez is standing by at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. Let's talk big bluefin tuna, and we got to shove you up here around, kind of off the west end of San Clemente Island, out toward San Nicolas Island, back behind the west end of Catalina, kind of in that triangle area. That area has some weather on it right now. The Cadillacs, and when we say Cadillacs, we're referring to the bigger long-range boats, can fish that, and they had a great night last night on board the Polaris Supreme. Paul Fanning, a great Friedman Adventures family member, was on board that trip. He caught his personal best bluefin tuna, and then backed it up with his next fish with another personal best bluefin tuna. And Paul is ecstatic about the Polaris Supreme and what a great job they do, not only looking for the fish, but the customer service and the food, the whole thing on the Polaris Supreme. Paul couldn't rave enough about it. They had one daytime bluefin tuna on the Supreme and picked off about another 39 last night. And Paul said the vast majority of those fish up over the 100-pound mark, requiring you to have the right tackle. 100-pound Spectra is absolutely necessary. 200-pound bite leader and jigs up to 500 grams in this snotty weather. You can drop down to 350, but in this really snotty weather, you're going to have some heavier jigs. No doubt about it. Great night on board the Polaris Supreme. Some other boats out there that we talked to, some had really similar type of nights, and other guys missed. Just didn't want to bite for them very well at all. And again, dealing with this weather is an A1 pain in the neck. Now, as you mentioned, and if you're not really familiar with the geography here in SoCal, that area that I was talking to you about, San Nicolas Island, Catalina Island, Santa Barbara Island, it's in that zone, and that is accessible easily for LA Orange County based boats. In fact, the San Diego based boats have a little bit longer run to come up here and fish it. So boats like the El Dorado are running those reverse day-and-a-half trips out of Long Beach Sportfishing. Reverse day-and-a-half means you leave in the daytime so you can fish all night long, and then you come back in after a good night's fish. You get a little bit of daytime fishing sometimes also, but really optimizes your nighttime fishing. And that's when, as you could tell by the Polaris Supreme score, that's when you want to be fishing at night right now. There has been some really big kite fish, the Red Rooster 3. In fact, the cover of the morning briefing today, that's a big old BFD on a kite on the Red Rooster 3. There's been some daytime fish also, but the better bite is at night. There's no doubt about that. Let's turn our attention now to the kelp patty situation. Oh, let me give you a few more scores. Pacific Dawn on a day-and-a-half trip returning with 29 bluefin tuna to 150 pounds. There's not a darn thing wrong with that kind of a score. And once again, most of the boats trying to get on that big bluefin. A little bit of weather right now, like the Highliner was going to go fish it, but I talked to Max and he said that weather is just way too up for us right now. We're going to fish the Coronado Islands. I'll get into that in a moment and what the Highliner is up to. Now, let's talk to kelp patty south of San Diego. We kind of referenced that when we were talking about Ensenada, and it's a little bit more hit and miss right now. Hard to find a kelp that is holding copious amounts of yellowfin. You can still do it, but many boats that go down there now are missing. They're not catching huge numbers of those yellowtail like we were a few weeks ago. And they are nice yellows on the kelps, 8 to 20 pound fish. You find the right kelp, fish bait, and you're on. It's really good, but you can spend all day long looking and just not find a productive kelp. There's also been some breezers of bluefin tuna south of the border, 20, 30, 40 miles south of the border, but those fish have been very finicky. So that requires, we talked about the heavy tackle, now we're gonna talk about some lighter tackle, and we're talking about 20, 25 pound fluorocarbon, a good hot bait, smaller circle hooks, really working well. That is not to say, however, you don't want to have some 30 and 40 pound along with you. You need to have that heavy line in case you find a kelp that really wants to bite. So keep that all in mind. Fish are a little bit finicky right now. The kelps not holding like they once were. So we'll see where that all leads us. But I will tell you right now, the Coronado Islands, such a viable alternative. Now, it's a parking lot there this morning. I've already talked to guys. There are so many private boaters there today, so many sport boats. As a result of this windy weather offshore, there's more boats at the Coronado Islands, and the lack of productive kelps right now is also shoving everybody in there. So it's going to be a rough weekend, but guys are still catching fish. I've already talked to several private boaters who are on the yellows, and they are biting. Other guys are a little frustrated with all the boat pressure, but as I mentioned, the Highliner made some squid down south around La Jolla, and they're at the islands this morning catching yellowtail. Nice going Max and crew. We'll see how that all plays out. Once again, we've seen the Mission Belle having great trips, 76 yellowtail yesterday, and that was with a lot of boat pressure also, not like today, but a lot of boat pressure in the Point Loma. They were there for 87 yellowtail. This is the best yellowtail bite I've seen at the Coronado Islands for decades. It's really good. 20 to 25 pound fluoro, again, working really, really well. Good hot bait, and you are on. There are some surface ironfish, also like a mint green Tatty 45 has been super effective. It's a great way to get the job done on those yellows also, but really bait is your go-to. That's how you're going to catch more fish than ever. If you're going to Catalina Island, you want to do it on the El Patron. They've been catching yellowtail and some good bass. They've been doing great. She's an ultra limited load ride out of Long Beach sport fishing that you're going to thoroughly enjoy. Get on the El Patron by going to www.longbeachsportfishing.org. You're going to really enjoy yourself. All right, San Clemente Island, you know, we're fishing that early morning, and I'm talking, you know, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. Whenever they're dropping anchor, you better get out on deck and get your dropper loop rig ready to go. Don't know how to tie that up? See a crew member on the way out. Make sure you've got everything ready to go, and you're going to need some heavy tackle, like some 50-pound and a big hook, 5/0, even a 7/0 size hook with an 8-ounce torpedo sinker. You can get flashed and catch some really good yellows. Now, there's a daytime bite also, which I'll get into in a moment. The Amigo with 32 on the yellowtail. The Aggressor had 7 yellowtail. There's some really good San Clemente Island fishing going on right now. Aggressor, I think, was a cat, but the Amigo and the Thunderbird and the Fury's there this morning. John Garma is on that trip. Can't wait to hear from John. That guy's got a horseshoe in his back pocket. He's got a big halibut in the surf, so I'm looking forward to hearing from John and hoping he's having a great trip. Big fish in the morning, and there are some bigger fish also in the daytime, but it seems like a lot of those yellows at San Clemente Island in the daytime are a little bit smaller, 8 to 10 pound fish. It's good calico bass fishing also. So we mentioned Catalina Island continues to produce. We see more and more yellowtail every single day. We don't see wide open ripper bites on the yellows, but a few yellows here and there. I mean, just the other day, the El Patron had 5 yellowtail. Not bad at all. Yesterday, they had a yellowtail. The Pursuit had 2 yellowtail. The Triton had 2 yellowtail. And then mixed up with it is a variety of different species. Bonito fishing can be pretty darn good there. There's some really good calico bass fishing. There's rockfish, blue perch, you know, all kinds of variety at Cat right now. And it's been pretty good weather. It's a little breezy right now, but hopefully that's going to come down. Looks like we're going to have this breezy weather in that Tuna zone and a few areas offshore through the weekend. So we'll keep our eyes on it. Hopefully it'll lay down. Up there in the Channel Islands, we're looking for another big white sea bass spot. I'll tell you, on the Gray Light, they had 4 fish to 50 pounds, white sea bass, big tanker sea bass. They hooked 8, they got 4, really excellent on the big fish at least. I'll tell you, there's been some huge hits on the white sea bass, but this weather right now is curtailing some of that. It's a little bit difficult to fish this sea bass in these windy, breezy conditions. They're going to persist through the weekend, and then we're going to get a little break and then a little bit more wind. We'll have to keep our eyes on that wind. That is definitely the problem in terms of any big scores. Now, you're fishing dropper loop on that island white sea bass up in the Channel Islands. That is definitely the way to get the job done. Fishing dropper loop with 40-pound, that's about the way to go. And 8 to 12 to even 16-ounce torpedoes, depending on wind, current, and the depth. Sometimes you can even fish less than that. They do a lot of that run and gun white sea bass fishing. In other words, they run up on a school of sea bass. Sometimes you'll visually see those sea bass swimming around up in the shallows up there in the Channel Islands. It's exciting, fun stuff, and throw a bait, but most of the time it's going to be dropper loop. There's been some halibut and the omnipresent rockfish bite. Excellent up there. The Island Spirit yesterday with our friend Captain Daniel Hadaway. He had limits of rockfish, 11 calico bass, 5 barracuda, some whitefish to go along with it. They are fishing those combo type trips, trying to get a surface bite, falling back on the rockfish. Not a darn thing wrong with that. And you can get on the Island Spirit by calling 805-676-3474. Get on the Island Spirit. You'll have the time of your life. They really put you up at a high level in terms of their customer service. The fishing's great. And if you're a novice or really a veteran angler, you're going to have a great time on the Island Spirit out of Ventura Sport Fishing. They've got plenty of room. And Sunday, tomorrow, kids fish free. Paid adult, kids 12 and under go for free. Perfect ride for a first timer, a kid that you want to introduce to the great sport of sport fishing. The Island Spirit is a great way to do just that. On our local situation down there in San Diego, 1/2 and 3/4 day boats picking at the bass. Sometimes it's pretty good, a lot of shorts, occasional sea bass, and yellowtail, also Dana, same kind of a thing up here in the LA Orange County area. We've seen some good calico bass fishing, and then back to sculpin whitefish, like it's December or something like that up Marina Del Rey. Good nighttime fishing on the twilight bass, sand bass, and calico bass. And then daytime's like a lot of rockfish, and we kind of covered it up there in terms of the Channel Islands already. And as we look at the surf, we talk about big fish bait and tackle in the beautiful city of Seal Beach, California, on the corner of Seal Beach and Pacific Coast Highway. They're giving away a free custom, beautiful surf fishing rod every single month. All you got to do is catch the biggest fish. Go to Big Fish Bait and Tackle, walk in and say Friedman Adventures, and they'll throw you right out of the store. Just kidding. Say Friedman Adventures and buy their ruler, and you buy that surf fishing ruler, and then you're in a tournament for the rest of the year. And they change the species every month. This month is spotfin croaker. Next month it'll be something else. That's right on the horizon. It's a lot of fun. As I say, there's a ton of bait here. There's got to be some halibut. Throwing a lucky crab lure, probably a really good idea to match the hatch in here today. Down in San Diego, good barb perch fishing. Huntington Beach, we've seen yellowfin croaker and a lot of corbina down in that neck of the woods. There's corbina here also, and up in the Santa Monica Bay, good corbina and some good hits on the yellowfin croaker. Folks, I don't know what to tell you. It's a gorgeous Saturday morning. It's always great spending time with you. I can't thank you enough for that. And once again, if I don't see you at the fair, well, I hope to see you really, really soon. Have a beautiful weekend, my friends.